here. What's up, everybody? It's Ray Lewis, favorite nerd, and today we're looking at KFC DITKA, and they put a football accessory in it. Cut it out. They're gonna have to knock it off. They're gonna have to relax. But let's get to the figure. So this is the tank mode. This is on loan to me from Manolo P. He is a third-party toy dealer. He deals more intimately, kind of in a way, so to speak. And you can find him in the Facebook groups. His prices are top shelf, and I highly recommend you mess with him if you're not familiar with him. Find him out. I've been begging him to let me give an email so you people could contact him, but he's been a little hesitant. Just find him in the Facebook groups, he says. Good dude, though. Glad to call him a friend, and he sent me this to take a look at. So, of course, per usual, we're going to start with accessories. So he comes with two of these. This is just plastic. There's no paint here. This is a different piece of plastic. These are spring-loaded, and there's two of them. Unfortunately, there's no place that I can find any way to plug them into the tank. Like the 5mm ports on the tank, this doesn't fit in. However, there are other places for this to go, and I will tell you also that the spring system is not the best here, and it's not. There you go. So just it's one of those things where, a lot of times, whether it's KFC or anybody, this spring-loaded stuff can eventually cause, it doesn't last forever. But what does? Do you know what I mean? Nothing lasts forever. They can attach to the wings in jet mode by just plugging them in to the port. He comes with this. It's like his signature gun. It folds up as such, and then you can also kind of rotate this whole handle around and have like his more like rifle look. This can be stored in, yikes, stress marks. Do you see him? I barely saw him. I almost didn't notice them. They're right around the ring of that port there, on the inside, so to speak. Up in there. I'm not even sure how that happened. Probably cutting them off the sprue. Oh no, it was when they put the pin through. And that's what caused the stress mark around it. So, anyways, a thicker piece of plastic, so you shouldn't have an issue, but I'm just pointing it out. We'll see what else we come across. But ultimately, it's a decent sculpt. Could have used some paint, but it's fine. Once again, I can't find a way to utilize it with tank mode, but you can utilize it in other places. You can plug this into the wing. I'm not sure why you'd want to, but it will go. His signature sword, and it's purple plastic down here, very plain, very plain. It is battery operated. I don't do that, but you can do it if you'd like. And this is mine is not secure. Like the tab-in system for these two pieces doesn't really stay together. But it's a translucent purple, and that part of it looks nice. I'm sure it looks nice lit up, and otherwise, I don't have much to say. Another accessory I can't really use in tank mode, but of course he can hold it and so forth. And he holds those perfectly well. An alternate head that looks terrible. Terrible sculpt. The lips look absurd. Maybe that's how, whatever this is trying to capture, I don't know if this is animated, I don't know what this is, but this is a nightmare. The silver paint looks good. The red paint on the eyes looks good. The red paint on the crest looks good. And otherwise, it's just plain plastic and kind of a bummer. Possibly the coolest third-party accessory ever in the history of third-party, a little football from, that thing from that episode. And I just think that's a nice touch. I think it's a nice character touch. I think it's a cool little accessory to include, and I commend them for that. The paint is clean, brown plastic, white stripes across, and then the laces are all done in white, and it looks good. Which he holds perfectly well. He comes with the display stage. KFC is actually pretty good about including these when they're appropriate. So I commend them for that. I think that more display stages should come with figures. And if you're putting it together, the lower peg goes towards the two things in the back. And it has his little logo on there, engraved on there now, so that's nice. Translucent plastic. And of course, you can plug the jet into it. I will say that connection sucks. Like, it's very difficult to get in, and then it feels like you're going to snap the peg off because it's so much weight in the backside of this jet that it wants to pull down on it. The question obviously is, does it work the other way? And we're going to try that now. What's frustrating about it is in the directions when they show it, they have the, like we talked about, like the long curve away from the two pillars. But when they show the jet on it, it looks like they have the long curve towards the two pillars. So we'll try that as well. Unfortunately, that doesn't work much better, and it's actually, I don't know if you can see that, but it's more back heavy that way. So I think that this is pretty much a wash, this stand, and I don't necessarily advise it. Definitely use it the other way if you're going to use it, where the more exaggerated curve is away from the pillars. And he comes with 2 sprues of accessories that you can arm up the vehicle modes and everything else. And this is a cool idea. I like this. You know, I'm not going to open this and arm them up because this doesn't belong to me. And there's a chance that this guy's probably going to try to sell this. And I don't want to cause any additional kind of interference or, you know, with this toy that I don't have to do. But it is a cool idea. And I think some might say that it was like a cheap way out, but I would disagree. I think this is a clever way to do it and an easy way to keep track of everything. So I like this. Now let's talk tank. So the barrel, we'll go through the features, right? So the turret spins almost 360, more than you would ever need, in my most humble opinion. You know I don't have humble opinions. The barrel extends and retracts. The turret actually does move about on the tank. If you needed to cheat it for a picture or something, you could do that. These little, pieces of weaponry here rotate out on a hinge. These little canopies, I don't know if Daddy's going to be able to do this for you kiddos, but there, you can get that one, and the other one I would imagine opens the same way. Ultimately fine. And I think that's it as far as features. The silver paint on the treads is, I think, acceptable. You know, the treads are a tricky thing to do, let's just be honest. And I think, engineering wise, with just the paint added on there, in my opinion, they put it on the front as well, put it on the back as well. In my opinion, that is good enough. Purple stripe paint down here, silver paint for the accents and details along the sides. Red, that is paint on the inside there. And then this is obviously paint. This is die cast for later on. But yeah, ultimately, I think this is a pretty good job. Cleans up underneath really well. I mean, obviously, you're going to see some of the jet, but I think we should expect as such. And I think that this is solid. I think it's good work. Good work, Keith. Way to hang in there. And then a size comparison next to Tiger Tracks. So let's get them transformed. I should also say that they say that this rotates up. I can't get it. I can't get it to move. I can't get it to budge. And I don't want to cause any strain on this, so sorry. Don't know what to tell you. All right. So flip these up here. And this is actually the second time I've reviewed this guy, but we'll save that story for the what's the word I'm looking for, gents? Final thoughts. Open this up here. And I'm just trying to be careful. And then this tab there will plug into there. And same for this side. You can do a little bit of cleaning up. Like they advise you to have this back piece up and like all this stuff down. This I think is landing gear. I don't know if you want to pull that out now or not, but you can. On the underside, split this. I advise splitting the whole legs, and I'll tell you why. When I had a chance to look at one of the test shots, and one of these tabs broke on me. So open this up. You want to separate these. Flip these bits out here the best you can. They're on a double hinge, FYI. and flip the wings, these back wings out. This wing, loose as a goose, and it was the same issue on the test shot that I pointed out to him. And then you just plug it back in. You just need to recapture it. And at the same time, kind of be mindful of tabbing this stuff back in. Just be careful with those tabs. On the bottom side, you want to flip this piece out. I've already loosened the connection. And then on this piece, it's even more difficult. So collapse the barrel. Actually, and you can probably just take this little piece that fell off, a little plug-in piece. That's not a big deal. You got to get these landing gear out to the side and then collapse them together. I have to mess with that. I can't get mine to work. Doesn't matter. We'll get to it. This is the piece that's really a pain. Getting this piece untabbed, like I don't know what to do. Just use a little tool and pry it. Like it's not a difficult transformation there. You gotta have this little bit of room, and that will allow you to flip out the cockpit. If you use that, there's a little channel slider in there. Flip it around. Use this piece down here to plug back into the bottom. This was a little bit frustrating on the test shot as well because it wants to hinge backward on itself, but that'll have to do. And then you can collapse this piece, and there's a little small tab that plugs into the top of that cockpit. Open up the nose cone, flip out the end of it, spin it around, and then flip it back down. And make sure that's all connected the best you can. Flip these down. And then I don't know what's going on here. And then there's and then these are your rear wheels, but I don't know why this thing is stuck. Oh, it is back all the way. So there it is. There. Actually, as I went to transform this guy to robot mode, I realized that I didn't have this down, which is supposed to stabilize the back end. I don't know, dude. It's fine, I guess. A little on the obnoxious side, but ultimately fine. And also, another error I made, I'll just go ahead and sort this out now, is these are supposed to be turned around. I mean, it doesn't even make that big of a deal, but then it gives you that specific look on the top side. Let's see, let's talk about some features. This is obnoxious, getting all this to stay plugged in and stuff with these little tiny pegs, but you do have the translucent purple cockpit there that does open. You have some nice paint detailings here that we will see in robot mode, so no need to really waste time on that. Landing gear we've already kind of looked at, and I don't know. I don't hate this, and I like the transformation to get here. It's not impressive, and the front seems a little stubby, but I really don't hate it. I really don't. You can adjust these in the back, of course, a little bit, and you can adjust these little side wings. But it is, and these little panels here are very frustrating. Very frustrating. Like, they don't, it's hard, like, I guess they have to be in the instructions, they show them, but I guess that's kind of angled down. But if they're more standing straight out on this double hinge, it works slightly better, but it's still not perfect. But in the directions, I feel like they're definitely angled. Either way, it's fine, I guess, but it's certainly not the best. Alright, to get to robot mode, there's a number of things that we have to do just cleanup wise, like to get back to a starting position. One is splitting this cockpit, and then taking the nose cone, turning it back around, and hiding it away. Open up these flaps here, open up the head piece, so to speak. You want to flip this in using that sliding channel once again to kind of get it down in there. And then split this here and then tuck those back around to the side. I do like the landing gear. That's a really smart little way to do it. And then flip these in here. All right, so you got to take these and unplug them and fold them down. Same on this side. Unplug these here. And then we have to undo this, which is a bit of a pain, as always. Because we got to get around these wings. Yikes. Alright, and then this has to be pulled away. Because you kind of have to bend it around that wing. Yeah, that does make it easier. It's got to come up. There we go. So we want to bring this back around. And what we ultimately want is for, let's get this arm out. We want to plug this into here, but we want to rotate it on this assembly so that it squares up, you know what I mean? And these rock down. And that plugs in. And then that comes up, make sure that flap is down. You can plug these back together. Other side. Fold these up and around. Loosen up, like to try to get the arm out. It kind of just helps slide down there. Plug in. Close this. And then you just need to orient the arm. Did I close his chest with the head in there? You see what kind of day I'm having? Tuck that in. Ball jointed fingers. Being a pain in my balls. All right, close this up. And then we'll
So I can't remember if it was earlier this year or later last year, but I had the opportunity to look at the test shot of this figure. It was the same run of test shots that everybody else got to look at review-wise. You could see them. They're easy to find on YouTube, other people reviewing the test shot. Same one. Maybe not the same exact one, but from around the same time. But I had to submit mine for like clearance to be released. And I'm not sure if it got declined or whatever, but I never heard back, so I never released it out of respect. That test shot is infinitely better than this figure, which is rarely the case. More often than not, the figure is always better than the test shot. And I'm not worried about it. Like, it doesn't bother me that like mine has to go through this process or whatever. It's the cost I have to pay for being me. I'm good with it. It's the line in the sand that I have decided to draw, and I'm willing to take accountability for that and have to live and operate under those guidelines for doing what I do. I'm good with it. No problems here. Long story short, I messed up pretty big in this review. the actual review of the figure, which is the only part of my reviews that I really, really want to drive home, because I think it's the most important aspect of an action figure, is the action figure element. For whatever reason, my camera didn't capture it. I hit record. When I went to go upload it all, I imported it. I returned the box to Manolo. I got back to edit it, and it's not there, and it's not on my camera. So something happened. So I don't know what happened, but it didn't record, and now I don't have the figure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the video footage from the test shot, and I'm going to speak over it and talk about the differences between that and the final version, but mostly talk about the final version. And as an apology to you guys, to the viewers, I am going to include the recommendations at the time that I had for the test shot. I'm going to put it at the end of the video after the credits. These were things that I asked at the time that KFC take into account. Ultimately, I don't think any of them were, but the new figure ended up coming with a whole new batch of problems anyway. So the minor complaints that I had with the test shot, I ultimately don't really have as many issues with those in the final figure. I have a whole new batch of issues. So I apologize. It's a goof. I had to debate whether or not even to put the video out, but I thought that it would maybe be pertinent enough to put it out because there are significant issues here. And with that, let's move forward.
I do apologize for that, but we'll try to get through this either way. So this is a voiceover, obviously. Now, the head is on a hinge swivel, which is the right way to do it. And you get a great range looking up, and you get a fair range looking down. You see here that the face is purple, the final version is silver. You will see it in the final thoughts, etc., etc. You've probably seen it already. They told me, actually, in this period it was going to be white. It ended up being silver. The problem is with the swivel. In order to get the swivel, the head kind of has to look up when looking to the left and right, which is a little obnoxious and, frankly, not what you want. The paint on the visor also looks great. But the yellow looks very terrible. It looks very kid toyish and it doesn't look good. I actually advised them in this video to paint it, and it didn't happen. Now for the chest, all the paint looks really good, with the exception on mine, the red rectangle in the middle of the chest has a lot of overspray. It bleeds out very well, or a lot, I should say. The yellow paint there, yellow's a paint that's hard to do. But it definitely needs a second coat, and I think I advised them in this video that it should have had a second coat as well, but, you know, that's how that goes. For the shoulders, they're basically universals, and the final version, they're on soft ratchets. They're not the best. They move fine. You get a surprising range for the bulk of the shoulder, I will say that. You can get all the way up to there, and then you can also manipulate the shoulder. You got to take that tab, that side panel out, and then you can get the shoulder out to a sideways angle to about 90 degrees as well. So for what it is, it ultimately works fine, except you have to have that little bit of an eyesore, which I ultimately don't think is a big deal. And with the things that I do think are big deals with this figure, that's definitely not one of them. There's purple paint along the shoulder as well, which does look good. I'll say in the test shot the joints were stronger on the shoulders. You do have a bicep swivel and you do have a full range on the elbow. In this video, I talk a little bit how tight the elbow joint is. That is apparently fixed in the final version because I didn't have any problems with the final version elbow. It worked fine. But you get the full range. I mean, there's literally nothing to complain about in that regard. The shoulders, on the other hand, I will say, like, it's like a Henri soft ratchet, at least going out to the side, and for me it had a tendency to unplug the whole side piece, and I really wish I had that footage because you would see how frustrating it was, at least on the one I had. You have a wrist swivel, and you get a little bit of a hinge from the transformation process. And in terms of the fingers, they're all on ball pegs at the base knuckle, and then they're on 2 additional hinges for each additional knuckle. For the thumb, you have a ball peg going into the base of the palm, and then 1 hinge that it comes directly out to, and then an additional hinge. So you have full articulation for all the fingers, but they do feel nimbly, they feel junky, they feel typical ball-jointed fingers. They should really get away from that. There's too many companies making the individualized, articulated fingers, and they're doing it properly, that there's no need to kind of be using this antiquated idea or antiquated approach to doing that. The back of the figure cleans up beautifully. I mean, it's shocking just how well that it does. But I mean, everything kind of covers down and and hides all the exposed joints. So really well done. Now, at the time that I did this, I didn't have the instructions, so there may be a few things that you see that are off here. I'm not sure. But the gunmetal, also I want to say, on the chest is really, really good. Like, it's a striking color, and it looks great. Articulation for the other arm is the same. Now, for the waist, it's a very limited waist swivel. It is ratcheted in the final version. I'm not sure if it's ratcheted on this. It's limited, but I think it gets the job done. We've had this discussion before of how much waist swivel do you actually need in order to kind of be, you know, anatomically correct to a point where you would pose it using anything more exaggerated, and you probably wouldn't. It works really well. Now, for the hips, you have these hip covers, and they come up, and you have a universal joint here. Getting the leg up is a bear. It's possible to do, but it is a burden to do it, and it doesn't feel natural. They're ratcheted both forward and outward. The outward ratchets are very weak, as you'll get ready to see here, I think. And I can tell you, in the final version, they're even weaker than this. These ratchets were better pretty much across the board than what I saw in the final version. You do have a thigh swivel that's built into the universal joint, and you have a double jointed knee. Now, the base connection point for that double jointed knee is a die cast piece, and it has a lot of weight. This test shot stood like a champ. It worked perfectly. The final version does not. The final version, you have to kind of angle out the base knee joint in order to get it to stand properly, and then it doesn't look right. If you were thinking about it, like the knee joint would almost have to be facing 45 degrees backward just to get the balance of the figure right. They really, really screwed the pooch on that on the final version. Ankle articulation, you get an ankle tilt down, no problems there. You get a good bit up, no problems there. And then you get a rocker at both the heel spur and the front bit of the foot. So no issues there. Works perfectly. Now, these side wings are floppy. They were floppy on the test shot. They're floppy on the final version.
And size comparison-wise, there he is with DX9's Astrotrain and Takara Tomy Ramjet. So, size comparison-wise, I think he's great. Final thoughts-wise, I think the sculpt is decent. I think that that he cleans up really well, you know, front and back. I don't like the head sculpt at all. But I think that the face sculpt, I should say, the head sculpt is, you know, the general shape and stuff of the head is fine, but the face sculpt is not good. He cleans up extremely well, and all the line work and stuff and all that stuff is great. The paint is minimal and not really anything to write home about, nor to really complain about. It's just sort of, you know what it is, ladies and gents. It's fine. The articulation is relatively poor. The joints suck, you know, pretty much across the board. The hardware sucks. So, you know, it's a train wreck in a lot of ways in that regard, and the articulation suffers a bit as a result. And I guess really, to be fair, it's not that bad. The articulation isn't that bad. It's just that the hardware is so poor that it doesn't let you pull off a lot of poses that you would like to pull off. The materials feel fine. They kind of feel standard KFC-ish, nothing to write home about, but nothing to complain about. There is plenty of die cast, so that's nice. Has a strong presence on the shelf, I would imagine, if you can get him to stand. The alt modes, the jet is sort of acceptable, and I think the tank is amazing. And I think the price is nowhere near proportionate to the quality of this figure. I do not recommend this in any way, shape, or form. If you like it, obviously you win, and I'm happy for you, but I think that this is junk. I hate to say that, because I think the KFC has been on a roll recently. I liked Transistor. I liked their Reflector. I liked their Junkions. I'll go so far to say I love their Junkions. And this, to me, is just, it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. And a complete failure, in my opinion. So I hope that, I feel sorry because I love Manolo. I'd love to tell people to buy this from Manolo. But I'll tell you what, if you're going to buy it from Manolo, but I recommend you don't buy it. How about that? Meet me outside. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Actually, you know what? I'm not finished with this thing. Look, it's funny, man. Like, in a way, like, I try to keep my videos shorter because, like, I can keep track of the average view length and see how long it is. So I'm like, man, people don't want super long reviews. They kind of want to get in, get the information, and get out. So, like, I try to make my thoughts more concise, but I just have more to say here. Like, this feels like it should have come before Transistor. So, like, you see that? Like, there's too much give there, and I hate these. Like, the ratchets are there, and it sounds like they should be good, but it's all you hear is this noise. I was just talking to a buddy of mine about this, and he said that he heard that like some guy had it and said it took him a while to figure out how to stand it. Like, are you for real, Mac? Like, it took you a while to figure out how to stand it. Like, it has 2 legs. My infant knows how to stand a thing with 2 legs. It stands on its 2 legs. And it's not a knock towards that guy, but what I'm saying is that it's frustrating. I know what he's saying is that it took a while to figure out how to utilize the joints in order to get it to stand right. But why should that even be an issue? Why should you have to figure out how to stand a figure with 2 legs? I feel like Jack Nicholson as the Joker. I'm like, can somebody tell me what kind of a world we live in? Where a man dressed up as a bat stands 10 times better than this figure. I'm sorry. This is masquerading as a masterpiece, and it's just not. And it's very difficult to just get him balanced. Oh my. You know what, maybe if I aim the leg back and I aim the front, if I aim the bottom leg back and I aim the front leg, just don't with this. Keep it as a tank. If you bought it, I'm sorry, okay? I know, and I'm happy if you like it. Oh, lordy, look who's 40. DITKA. This toy is a DITKA. I'm frustrated and I'm disappointed because I think that KFC has really been on an upward climb. But I will say this, I just recently read that KFC said that they switched factories and they're expecting a much tighter QC, a much tighter production, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm not writing off the company yet because I think they've had a lot of good releases as of late. I just don't think this is one of them. This shouldn't be an issue. What is this? What is that? What's going on there? $150, isn't it? Somewhere around there? Let's say it's $100. I don't even know how much it costs. But if it's $100 to $150, anywhere in that ballpark, this is unacceptable. You know, like imagine if, I always say this, I always use this comparison, but like imagine if you bought a pizza that was $20 and it came with the wrong topping, or all the toppings were slipping off the pizza. You know, by the time the delivery man got there, they had slipped off the pizza and they were just laying in the box next to the pizza. You'd call them. You'd call them and be like, I spent $20 on this pizza. What is your guys' problem? Give me a new pizza. But this thing costs a couple $100 or 150 bucks, and it's just like, you know what? You're being too hard on it. Stop whining. Stop complaining. Yeah, all right. Enjoy. Final thoughts wise, let me get my recommendations out of the way. I think that the tabs in the back that connect these 2 pieces need to be secured somehow, like reinforced, I guess is a better way to put it. And my other big complaint is to make sure that I don't even know, it's probably too late. One thing, that the shape of these hips here, it does create some challenges in getting poses to look quite right, because you can only kind of get it from certain angles. Like you can't really manipulate the thigh there once you have it in place, because it only fits up underneath that cavity in certain ways. And that is a bit problematic. He does hold his weapons just fine, even though I knocked the sword out of his hand, as you can see. But yeah, it's a little bit, you know, action poses with this guy are going to be a little bit challenging to pull off given those hips. And if there's anything that they can do to round out the upsides of the hips, it's going to make this a lot more fun to deal with.